has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. So make sure you get the SportsGrid app. It's on iOS and Android in the Play Store. It's free. You're going to love it. It's amazing. You can watch the network on the app. You can listen to the network on the app. And you can follow your favorite hosts like Carver High and Coach Young on the app. It's all there. And in-game odds, stories, videos, highlights, got it all. The SportsGrid app. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Did you know we're streaming on X? Just go to SportsGrid-Live. And you can watch us stream 7 days per. You can get the Ferrall Coast to Coast and Ferrall on a Bench podcast on Apple and iTunes every day, Monday through Friday. And let me give you the rundown for SportsGrid TV tonight. You got, after this show at 6 Eastern until 8, Game Time Decisions with the Kevin Walsh. And then at 8 to 10 with Wetzel and Sherapan in-game live. And at 10 to midnight, Sports Rage with Morency and Cam Stewart live in Toronto, the commissioner, of course, the Prime Minister of Canada, your boy Cam. And also at 8 to 10 on SportsGrid Radio, you got Carver and Lisi. All that on SportsGrid TV and SportsGrid Radio tonight. And now we bring in Coach Young to talk rack. And these games are all going on. They've been fantastic. All of a sudden, Marquette is down 2 to Xavier. They were down 10 at the half. What do you think happens the last 11 of that puppy in a Big East at the Garden?
Well, I think Marquette will end up pulling up and taking this game. Obviously, up 24-16 in the second half. Listen, 46 points is way too much to be given up by a Shaka Smart team. Seems like they're clamping down defensively. And a really big spot for Xavier. I think Xavier is really one of these bubble teams that really can solidify getting into the tournament with a win and getting to the semifinals of the Big East tournament. If they lose, that could open up the door for, ready for this, Villanova. If they could win tonight versus UConn in the final of the 4 games at MSG.
So wait, I just want to get this straight. The last game at MSG tonight is that Nova UConn game at 9:30 on Fox Sports 1, and UConn's laying 7. All right, let's get back to reality here for a second of what's going on right now. North Carolina, you're laying 5.5 or 6. Did you lay? What did you lay in that game against Wake? They're up 42-36 with 15.5 left.
I got it in at 5.5, so up 6. And listen, Ferrall, they got to win. And I think they got to win impressively because I think they need to win a run. And now with Cooper Fly getting hurt today, and then maybe they hold them out, this could open up a pathway for possibly Carolina to steal this game. They play phenomenal on Saturday night at the Dean Dome. If no Cooper Fly, who does everything for Duke, maybe this is the opening that Hubert Davis needs. But they got to win, and I think they got to win by close to double digits today.
But that'll be if they win this, that'll be 2 wins in the tournament. And I think that gets them in already. It doesn't matter what they do with Duke. If they win this game today, they've won 2 tournament games. I think that'll get them into the NCAAs. It's going to get them in over in Indiana. It's going to get them in over in Oklahoma. You keep winning games like they are, they're in. They already won 21 games. This is what, 22 and 23? They're getting in.
I think the concern that people are going to have is ready. Here it is, Ferrall. Quad 1. And it's just an advantage for certain leagues. The SEC's got a bunch of teams that are quad 1s. So all those games count. There's very little games in the ACC that counts. So to me, Carolina, if you listen, I think they were 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games. And Ferrall, it was a bad half. If they played a decent second half against Duke on Saturday night, they either
but look at the brand. Look at the brand. They put in these schools like Carver High and I've been talking about. If you're North Carolina, that just saying that has more weight than half of these other teams that aren't North Carolina. And then I'm talking about history. I'm talking about championships. I'm talking about the great players and the NCAA committee. They want teams like this in the tournament, and I think they're corrupt for it. I think they will put in teams, heavyweight teams, even if they're not that good in an off year. They're going to still put them in if they got this many wins.
Like Arkansas.
I think Arkansas deserves to be in. They got beat at the buzzer today, but they gave Ole Miss all they could handle. And I think Cal did a good job in his first year there. Would you argue with that?
I would argue at times they looked very sloppy. Now, they're wildly consistent, Ferrall. Take a look at yesterday. Yesterday, they're up 17 at the break versus a South Carolina team that beat them by 20.
Barely beat them.
And that game came down, barely beat them. So which Arkansas team are you going to get? See, here's the thing, Ferrall.
You didn't think they look better today than yesterday?
I thought no. I think they look way better today than yesterday. But I wanted to see them put the hammer
yesterday.
Right. I wanted them to put the hammer down. But here's the thing. If you're the selection committee, what better way to have it all spicy on Tuesday or Wednesday and have a playing game with Arkansas in it? Or have a playing game with North Carolina in it? Like, those things are immediately grab the attention of everyone because of the brand, the name, like you said.
So let's say they win by 4. They lose by 3. They played better in the loss than they did the win. Indiana loses by 13. They look like crap. So are they out because they lose by 13? But Arkansas, loses by 3, wins by 4. You can't win by 4 and say that's not a good win, and then lose by 13 and say it's a bad loss. Like, what's the difference between winning and losing? Like the team last night. The high school team. They were up 29-22. The kid had 25. They lost by 9. Was it a good loss or was it just a loss?
Well, it all depends on when you look at the committee. How do you judge teams, right? To me, I do the eye test. Like, how do they look? How do they play? Now, Indiana had a nice little run, but it's still at the end of the day, they're 4-12. If you want to call it the quad, they played a good teams. They suck. Right? They got it. But
North Carolina has less quad wins than Indiana.
And I think that's where you have to start looking at it.
Time out. I got 5 left. Did this not happen? Did Manasquan beat Camden by a bucket for the state championship this year after they screwed them last year?
Thank God Lindstrom hit that bucket. Manasquan down 1. Lindstrom, they hold the ball. They get the shot off. 2 seconds left. Manasquan won the game, and that guy, Derek Sellers, who robbed Manasquan last year, was nowhere to be found.
And where was the game?
It was a neutral site game. It
wasn't in Camden's gym where all those kids would have been killed if they won that game last year. And they won that game last year. They won that game.
Oh, Ferrall,
they got it robbed, stolen from them.
Ferrall, do you know what's trouble I got myself into?
I know you got in trouble, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
But here's what you think, Ferrall. If you go quad 1, quad 2, go back to Indiana versus Carolina. Indiana has 9 quad 1, quad 2 wins based off of what happened, right? If North Carolina wins today, they'll have 9 quad 1, quad 2 wins. They'll be undefeated in quad 2. So it'll be interesting to see. I still think Carolina can go play Duke. And if they go play Duke without Cooper Flagg and they lose by 15, I think they'll lose their spot. But if they either lose close or definitely win, then I think you put Carolina in the tournament.
All right, so at the half, Colorado, they were down 21-7. Now they're down 5 to Houston in the Big 12 in Kansas City. What do you think of Tad's Buffs and that 18 and a hook?
Well, it looks like they may cover it, but I would look at Colorado's team total under because the Warden, a.k.a. Kelvin Sampson, will get in there behind at the break.
All right, we'll come back and get all of his picks for tonight and everything.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
it's made every match so much more enjoyable to watch because you don't get the stinkers, right?
Right. It goes back to these guys being smart. They figured out that if I've got the hammer in my back pocket and I don't relinquish it, we can just play them straight up and win. They figured that out. So it's like, all right, now credit to the people at TGL. Like, no, we need to fix this because the hammer can change the match. And since we fixed it, you're not out of it.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Off of the combine this weekend, there's been lots of anonymous sources and position coaches and all these things that sat down in interviews with him. A lot of teams allegedly don't see him as a first-round pick.
Their big mouth that thinks they can do it either. They're embarrassing themselves. They all think they're so smart, everybody in this business. You're all a bunch of drips. Honestly, you don't know who's going anywhere.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
That is so funny. You got in trouble because you were telling it like it is, and then you like I remember, what'd you go after, like the state basketball commission?
Yeah, went after
That's my
Derek
guy.
Sellers. I went after one of the head guys in the state.
Remember
of New Jersey.
Brad Sellers?
Yeah, I remember Brad. No, this Brad Sellers actually could play ball. I don't know about this Derek Sellers character, but yeah, I went after him a little bit. But that's all right. Shout out to my guy, Andrew Bilodeau and the Manasquan Warriors winning Group 2.
That's a great win. They deserved
along
it.
with the girls.
They deserved it after what happened last year. So anyway, I want to get your snags for everything tonight in the NBA and college rack and see where you're going here with your money.
Well, first I'm going with Illinois minus 10.5 versus Iowa. I know an Illinois team that struggled down the stretch a little bit, including that 40-point loss to Duke. But Ferrall, you got to admit, they woke up a little bit after that game. Give me Illinois minus points. Next, Texas Tech over 73.5 versus Baylor. This is not the Baylor team you think defensively. Texas Tech is really good offensively. They shoot the three well. Baylor does not defend the three well. Give me Texas Tech team total over 73.5. Rock, chalk, Jayhawk, plus the 1.5. I know they've been all over the place. They just beat Arizona and Fall Gallon by 7 over the weekend. This comes down to what team I think is better. I am taking Kansas plus the 1.5. Next, Villanova. I just said it with the whole thing with Xavier, who is now up by 4 with 6:19 left to go versus Marquette. Remember, folks, Villanova had UConn 15 points down in UConn's building and blew it down the stretch. They also beat UConn at Wells Fargo. Too big of a number. Give me the 6.5 points there. Lastly, Kentucky. I like them minus a point tonight, minus 5.5. I think they get the job done. To the pros, really quickly we go. Pistons minus 13.5 versus the Wizards. They just beat them by a 20-piece 2 nights ago. Detroit 8-2 against the spread their last 10 games. Bulls on the money line versus the Nets. I know the Nets almost beat Cleveland. I don't care. The Nets need to be tanking right now. The Bulls want to make the playoffs, and I think they want to try and catch Miami, who has lost a bunch of games in a row. Give me the Bulls on the money line. Next, Bucks minus 7 versus the Lakers. Tons of injuries. No Rui, no LeBron. I think they get it done. For props, Moody over 1.5 made threes. Sacramento team struggles to defend the three-point line. Cunningham over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. You look at the Wizards team, they give up more rebounds plus assists than anybody in the association. And Nick Claxton over 9.5 points tonight versus the Bulls. That is simply put because big boy Vucevic doesn't play defense.
All right, let's go back to the Kansas call. You think they're better than Arizona?
I think they're better than Arizona. I just don't think they've been consistent enough. Oh, by the way, Marquette just took the lead, so Carver High is looking pretty good right now, up 72-71, 5:31 left to go.
Come on, I just looked and they were losing. Now they're winning?
Yeah, I'm seeing 72-71 right now.
All right, so why? Let me ask you, why do you think Arizona isn't as good as Kansas? Isn't one team been ranked all year, the other one's not ranked at all? I know rankings don't mean anything. You just think they're good. Why?
I just think to me, I look at the guard play. I think DeJuan Harris is going to be better. I don't trust Caleb Love in big spots. I think he shoots you out of games. I think Hunter Dickinson's an absolute low down low. And if they can get Zeke Mayo to hit some shots, I personally, listen, folks, Kansas was the number 1 ranked team in the country before the season started. They've just been all over the place. But if they get
they got the measles. I mean, they've been so awful. They got the measles.
If they can get their act together, I really do like them. By the way, Marquette now up 74-71. Carver High's looking good right now.
Let me ask you about UNLV and Utah State tonight at the Thomas and Hack in Cincinnati. Beautiful down, Las Vegas, baby. Do you think UNLV in that 8 piece is enough? They're getting 8 at home. They beat them by 3, the Aggies, at the TNM.
And I think that's the reason why I'm taking this game is because it's at the TNM. I mean, it's just basically a home game. I know Utah State is really, really good. But listen, to me, they lost a couple of games on the road. They lost the last 2 games on the road at the end of the regular season at Colorado State, at Boise State. I know they're the best, 1 or 2 seed, but they're playing at the Thomas and Mack. Give me UNLV plus the points. Would it be shocked if they stole it outright?
I think they can. How about Nevada getting 5.5 against Colorado State? That game's going to be good as well. I love that Boise and San Diego State game and the Nevada-Colorado State game. Who do you like in both of those games?
Oh, those are all great matchups. To me, listen, Boise State's laying at 2.5. I'm going to go ahead and take San Diego State to get the win outright. And then obviously Nevada-Colorado State. Obviously Steve Alford has been talking about him retiring. He says he's not retiring. I'm going to take Nevada plus the 5.5. There was rumors I saw last week.
60 years old.
Hey, man, listen, but they're running. They ran Tony Bennett out. They ran Larinaga out. They ran Leonard Hamilton out. They're running all these good coaches out.
Who do you like tonight between the Gauchos and the Northridge, the fault line, laying 3.5?
Oh, man, I'm laying the 3.5 points. Ferrall, this is where we have fun because we're going deep fish dive. We're going deep diving right now with games.
I like that. That's a great game. I don't know what you're talking about. What about the Thunder last night spanking the Celtics in Boston? How delicious was that?
Statement game, Ferrall. It was a statement game for that team. A team that Brian Windhorst from that 4-letter network that we don't talk about on SportsGrid, a real network. By the way, I just want to get that plug to SportsGrid. Shout out to my people. I do think that people think that they're not that good. I love this Thunder team. No, they brought Hartenstein off the bench. No Jalen Williams.
White boy Rick.
And you win the fourth quarter. White boy Rick off the bench. That was a shocker by Dagenham last night. Smart call.
Yeah, I got to tell you, anytime I'm watching the Celtics lose in Boston, it's just a fantastic opportunity. I mean, I couldn't get enough of that. I mean, and how about tonight? You're talking about the Bulls. How about the way Giddy Kitty's been playing?
Oh, Giddy Kitty, meow, meow. Getting busy with it. Points plus rebounds plus assists. Giddy gets busy.
He's been lighting it up for Chicago every single night for 3-4 weeks.
It's been fantastic. All they had to do was get rid of Zach LaVine, and boy, been balling.
Coach told me he was too soft to go to the Garden tonight for a 9:30 tip. He'd fall asleep in the first half of that game in his seats at the Garden, which is really embarrassing when you think about it.
We're going to play a little game of true or false, fantasy or reality is what we used to call it. But instead, we're going to play a little game of buy or sell. Rafael Devers had a press conference and basically said, I ain't moving off third base. I'm a third baseman. I won't play DH. I won't play anywhere else. Alex Bregman was just signed, so how's this going to work out? Buy or sell, George? Devers will start more games at third than Bregman this season. Is that a buy or sell?
Yeah, Devers is a horrific third baseman. All right, he's bad. I think he ranks dead last in the league here. I think Cora is going to talk to Devers. Apparently, they are close. Listen, you got to move, buddy. I'm sorry. You got to move. We're a better team with Bregman at third.
I think he's dug in here, man. I don't know. I know that there was a report a few days ago that they were talking about it and, sort of working things out. But I think in the end, cooler heads will prevail. But I don't know when that's going to be. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to say that Devers starts like 90 games at third base this season. And I think that'll probably be the compromise here. I think that Bregman will start some, Devers will start some. Bregman's still a Gold Glove third baseman at this stage of his career. It doesn't really add up. The other thing that happened is over the course of Big Poppy's career, he moved off first base, he went to DH, and Big Poppy was Devers, right? I mean, pretty similar in stature there. But Devers just seems to be really dug in on this. I think if it was going to happen, George, we would know by now. And it hasn't. We just heard that it may. So I am going to buy. I don't think Devers plays 150 at third base or even 140 or anything like that. But I do think he plays more than Bregman at third. I think that they have a compromise where they play both.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I don't understand this. This Eastern Michigan, Miami of Ohio game is delayed, and I don't know why. What's going on there? I mean, they just won't.
Because the other game went to overtime. The game before it went to overtime.
Oh, is that why? All right.
What was that? What was that MAC game that you said went to OT? That
yeah, it was the
Toledo
Toledo
game.
Toledo won by 5 in overtime.
They got to, they give them 30 minutes, whatever it is, before they start the next game.
All right,
so
there you go.
You got some time for that. Marquette up 77-73 right now with under 4 minutes to go at the Garden in that second round game. So Xavier had a double-digit lead here early in the second half, and they have yacked that up and let Marquette come all the way back. Wisconsin's up 13 with just under 8 minutes to go in the second half at the Big Ten. North Carolina up 1, 50-49, 8-11 to go there. New Mexico kind of struggling. I mean, they're up 7, but they were laying a fat number against San Jose State, right? 14.5 they were laying.
Yeah,
so they got some work to do.
15.5 at close.
Yeah, they got some work to do if they're going to get that.
San Jose State in that game today with the 15.5.
And Colorado got it to 5 at the half. So 38-33, Houston leads Colorado at the half in that one. All right, let me give you a couple of things here. First, you said this national
game is good. It's 2 points, and there's 3.5 minutes to go, and it's just an incredible game with Xavier.
Great game. I've got it on here. I was able to get the Peacock in the office, so I've got Peacock
I don't have it, so you gotta update me on
Marquette.
that because I got money on that.
I do too. Let's finish this off. All right, you sent me this trend. Every national champion since 2002 has been a top 40 offense, top 25 defense per Ken Palm, and there is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 teams that meet that criteria this year heading into the NCAA tournament. Duke, Michigan State, Auburn, Iowa State, Houston, Maryland, Florida, Clemson, Tennessee, Louisville, Marquette, and UCLA. Those teams on the right there. Those are the teams that fit the criteria this year to be in that top 40, top 25D.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like what appealed to me about it is that you look at that stack of teams, and I think one of them will win the national championship. I mean, it's just got to be like, I right now, because I had been on the only team that's not in there that should be, in my opinion, is St. John's because of their defense. Okay, so I would put St. John's in there again today. They played at the Garden. They just absolutely destroy whoever they play because of their full court 40-minute press defense. Then I would put Houston in there with their defense, Tennessee with their defense, and Duke with their defense. Now, Duke is starting to concern me for a national championship based on the quality of the players that are being injured. You're talking about Brown and Flagg. It's just the two best players on the team. And this guy, Brown, he was injured 2 weeks ago, came back, and he's injured again, and it's the same injury. So he obviously is not healed at all. And as far as I'm concerned, he's about done. I think he's about done. Right? It's his shoulder. Am I tripping about this kid?
It's the second time he's had the shoulder injury now in the past, second or third in the past few weeks. Yeah, not a good scene for them whatsoever.
I don't think you can win a title with a bunch of guys that are injured.
Kid on Xavier just hit a bomb three to put him up 180-79 with $1:20 to go. This is a hell of a game here. Hell of a game at the Garden between Marquette and Xavier.
I cannot believe that Marquette can't play defense, and they're letting them shoot these threes.
They're back up 81-80 Marquette. They just made a layup under the basket. So 1:16 to go, and they're trading buckets there at the Garden.
2.5.
Minnesota fired Coach Ben Johnson after they lost last night. Finished. Virginia told interim head coach Ron Sanchez that his services won't be needed anymore. He's finished as well. Now, after I go through the LIV Singapore with Brady, I collected, we will quickly do a little hit through some of the coaches that were upset last night. Some of them lost, some of them won, but all of them this time of year, a lot of pressure on these coaches during championship week. And we'll give you a few of them from their post-game press conferences last night.
I love
some pretty good
gems. Isn't the Northwestern coach crying about his hotel?
He's in there. Yeah, we got him. He's part of him, Kim English, Ed Cooley. This guy in Wyoming he's pretty good too. I've never heard of him, so we'll give you all that.
Play a little game of true or false, fantasy or reality is what we used to call it. But instead, we're going to play a little game of buy or sell. Rafael Devers had a press conference and basically said, I ain't moving off third base. I'm a third baseman. I won't play DH. I won't play anywhere else. Alex Bregman was just signed, so how's this going to work out? Buy or sell, George? Devers will start more games at third than Bregman this season. Is that a buy or sell?
Yeah, Devers is a horrific third baseman. He's bad. I think he ranks dead last in the league here. I think Cora is going to talk to Devers. Apparently, they are close. He said, listen, you got to move, buddy. I'm sorry. You got to move. We're a better team with Bregman at third.
I think he's dug in here, man. I don't know. I know that there was a report a few days ago that they were talking about it and, sort of working things out. But I think in the end, cooler heads will prevail. But I don't know when that's going to be. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to say that Devers starts like 90 games at third base this season. And I think that'll probably be the compromise here. I think that Bregman will start some. Devers will start some. Bregman's still a Gold Glove third baseman at this stage of his career. It doesn't really add up. The other thing that happened is over the course of Big Papi's career, he moved off first base. He went to DH. And Big Papi was Devers, right? I mean, pretty similar in stature there. But Devers just seems to be really dug in on this. I think if it was going to happen, George, we would know by now. And it hasn't. We just heard that it may. So I am going to buy. I don't think Devers plays 150 at third base or even 140 or anything like that. But I do think he plays more than Bregman at third. I think that they have a compromise when they play both.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back, Ferrall, coast to coast here on a Thursday. Carver High here with you. Of course, we've got lots of college basketball going on, but there's a ton of golf happening as well. We have round one of the Players going right now, and LIV tees off tonight in Singapore after last week, me and Brady Cannon with the Sergio Garcia winner in Hong Kong. We are going to try to keep things going, and Brady is with us here once again on C2C to try to get that cooking. Brady, good to see you as always, my man. Before we get to the LIV stuff, and you tell me about Sentosa and who you like for this evening as we get going with LIV, the Players, round one. Couple of things here. First of all, Lucas Glover, 6 under to start the day. I mean, you gotta be kidding me with him.
You know what's funny, Mike?
Yeah, go ahead, Brady.
When I did all my stats crunch this week, guess who comes out at the very top of my list? Lucas Glover. And I didn't do it. And here he is. Looks like he's going to cash a first-round leader ticket.
And then your boy Captain Chandler Phillips here at 6 under, 12 holes in, and he's got a few holes to go. But, Ferrall said this before, and it's true. Usually when you get these, you get majors and you get the Players, you want stacked names at the top of the leaderboard. Now, you don't exactly have that now. Hopefully by Saturday and Sunday, you will have that. But as I saw someone making a joke on Twitter earlier today, it almost seems like a continuation of the Puerto Rico Open at the top of the board right now, because we're off to a bit of a slow start with the names that are at the top of it.
Well, we've talked about that all week, right, Mike? You and I were on the radio show last night. You get a lot of randomness at this particular tournament. Stephen Ames, Tim Clark, Fred Funk, Jerry Kelly was a fixture on this leaderboard back in the day. You remember Kelly from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Ian Poulter was runner-up here twice. So it's not always Sergio and Tiger and Scotty and Mickelson and Davis Love and Couples, the guys that have won this thing before. There's a bunch of other guys, Matt Kuchar, Webb Simpson, Siwoo Kim. There's a bunch of other guys that are kind of that tier 2, tier 3, even, further down, that have been major players at this or winners of this event in the past. It's that type of randomness that you get at the Players, and we talked about it as well. I think it's a real testament to the Pete Dye design. The guy, it's his masterpiece, and it doesn't necessarily cater to just one particular type of golfer.
No, it does not. I know one thing. It won't be catering this Saturday and Sunday to the likes of Justin Thomas, Victor Hovland, and Max Homa. Those guys flying away this morning with 6, 7, and 8 overs on their rounds. All right, Brady, let's do it. LIV Golf, congrats to you. We both had Sergio last week. A nice winner for us here on C2C with the LIV. We were great with it last year, and we're going to try to stay hot with it now. Back-to-back weeks, we stay out in the Far East. We go to Singapore, Sentosa Golf Club. 3rd year that LIV has been here. Brooks wins last year. Taylor Gooch wins the year before that. Tell me a little bit about Sentosa.
I remember our handicap on this one last year, Mike, and last year this was actually played in April. So it's going about a month earlier than it did last year. But I remember looking at the past winners. This was a common golf course, one of the best golf courses in the world, by the way. It's ranked, I believe, around 65th or so, the Golf Digest best courses in the world. It was a fixture on the European Tour for many years. And I remember looking at this. In 2020, Matt Kuchar won here. In 2018, it was Sergio. 2010, 2006, and 2005, Adam Scott won 3 times. 2009, Ian Poulter, and then Cam Smith, a runner-up last year. Those are all guys that have won at TPC Sawgrass. And like I said, Poulter has been runner-up twice. This is like a facsimile of who's had success at Sawgrass. And oddly enough, here we are, side by side, the Players this week. But I thought a correlated course absolutely had to be TPC Sawgrass. Driving distance, it's a pretty long course, 7,400 yards, but it's a par 71. But driving distance hasn't actually been as important. Both Koepka and Taylor Gooch have not ranked that high in driving distance. It's been more about putting and iron play. But I did go with a couple of bombers, buddy. Dean Burmester, he's one of the longest hitters in the world. I think he might be arguably the best player on the LIV circuit right now. I took him at 20-1. He was a fourth in Riyadh, second last week to our guy Sergio, 14th here last year at Sentosa, first in birdies on the circuit, seventh in greens and regulation, sixth in driving distance, and ninth in putting. So I started with the Dean, who we hit last year at Doral as well.
We did. You did hit the Dean at Doral last year, and I remember looking back because I wanted to make sure this week. I had Brooks last year at this when he won.
Good for you.
I did hit
nice.
Brooks at Singapore when we did this one last year because I remember, anything around Augusta, Brady, I try to get Brooks involved because you know how much he tries to get himself worked up with that. Here's where I'm going to go for you. These are my four. I'm going back to Brooks just because he's played so well here in the past. Cameron Smith has a couple of top tens here as well at 16-1. I like Patrick Reed on this course, so 22-1 there. And I'm taking my bomb this week because I always got to have one for another guy who didn't play poorly the two times that they've been here before, and that's Kevin. At 65-1, Brady.
And he's been good at TPC Sawgrass before, and if I recall, he was pretty darn good last week in Hong Kong as well.
Yeah. Yep, he played well in Hong Kong last week, so we have a couple of guys there that maybe we can get some stuff working. I like the Dean this week, too. I think that Dean's a guy that whenever you get him in any of these spots, he's a good guy to play. And Uline, he's been playing some great golf as well there.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can keep our seats. But he's going to break through with a win, Brady. You can feel it with how close he's been in a few of these spots.
Like I said, I think he's arguably the best player on LIV right now. I mean, I know John Rahm would have something to say about that, but the Dean has been fantastic. So I took Burmester at 20-1, and then I took Paul Casey at 30-1. He was a runner-up here in 2019, fifth last week in Hong Kong, seventh in driving accuracy, 12th in greens and regulation, and 16th in putting on the LIV circuit. And I mentioned the connection with Sawgrass. In 2021 and 2022, the last two times Casey played the Players' Championship, he finished third and fifth. So I like Casey. And then you mentioned Uline. Yeah, he's been playing great. Peter Uline, I got him at 45-1, sixth place finish last week in Hong Kong, second on the LIV circuit in driving distance, ninth in putting, and 11th in birdies. So Burmester, Casey, and Uline.
What do you think is last week? How about Phil finishing in the top three?
Talk about
Phil
getting fired up for Augusta, right?
He's all, and there was I saw some huge tickets on him in top five for that LIV event last week. So nice job, whoever had that. But that's him tuning up. Remember, played well last year at Augusta. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe Phil gets himself cooking again here in a couple weeks. It's fun seeing Phil at Augusta, Brady. We love that.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what. I hope he doesn't do any. I hope he misses the cut. He said something last week about like the team play or whatever's like the Ryder Cup or whatever. Come on, Phil.
You know what? He did say. You're right.
Quit cooking up stuff like that. Come on.
You don't have to do that. There is no comparison for what they're doing on LIV for the high drama, high pressure that the Ryder Cup brings. And that's just Phil banging the drum, which he's done a lot for 3 years now. We know that. He's going to bang the drum for LIV, but that's how it goes. Brady, let's get another one here this week out in Singapore on LIV, and maybe a couple of our guys can get rolling here over at TPC Sawgrass as well. Can I get this hole-in-one, too? We came close on the hole-in-one today. Chad Ramey just missed by a hair for a hole-in-one on the 17th green. Brady Cannon, great job. LIV, Singapore, another winner coming our way, coast to coast. We are back on the grid right after this.
We're going to play a little game of true or false, fantasy or reality is what we used to call it. But instead, we're going to play a little game of buy or sell. Rafael Devers had a press conference and basically said, I ain't moving off third base. I'm a third baseman. I won't play DH. I won't play anywhere else. Alex Bregman was just signed, so how's this going to work out? Buy or sell, George? Devers will start more games at third than Bregman this season. Is that a buy or sell?
Yeah, Devers is a horrific third baseman. He's bad. I think he ranks dead last in the league here. I think Cora is going to talk to Devers. Apparently, they are close. He said, listen, you got to move, buddy. I'm sorry. You got to move. We're a better team with Bregman at third.
I think he's dug in here, man. I don't know. I know that there was a report a few days ago that they were talking about it and, sort of working things out. But I think in the end, cooler heads will prevail. But I don't know when that's going to be. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to say that Devers starts like 90 games at third base this season. And I think that'll probably be the compromise here. I think that Bregman will start some. Devers will start some. Bregman's still a Gold Glove third baseman at this stage of his career. It doesn't really add up. The other thing that happened is over the course of Big Papi's career, he moved off first base. He went to DH. And Big Papi was Devers, right? I mean, pretty similar in stature there. But Devers just seems to be really dug in on this. I think if it was going to happen, George, we would know by now. And it hasn't. We just heard that it may. So I am going to buy. I don't think Devers plays 150 at third base or even 140 or anything like that. But I do think he plays more than Bregman at third. I think that they have a compromise when they play both.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, I'm going to puke. They just hit a 3 at the buzzer. They had to have. Weren't they down 5? They lost by 2. Xavier hit a 3 at the buzzer for the bad beat. They were laying 2.5, Marquette. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It gets worse by the minute. I mean, honest to Christ.
Yeah.
Honest, I had that in the bag. They were up 5 with 1 second left.
Why did they
Jesus,
do? Where did this? Oh, here we go. Second. Yep, final second. Ryan Conwell made a 3 with no time left. 89-87 final. Unbelievable.
I mean, that just ruined my day right there. I'm done. I got a migraine. I'm done. I had that in the bag, and that's gone. I mean, they're up 5 with 1 second left.
That's brutal.
That's the worst. That's the worst beat of the day. That's the worst beat of the day right there. That's the day crusher right there. I had BYU, Bonnie's, and Marquette, and then I just lost that money right there on that shot. That kid. I hope that kid gets gonorrhea. Are we on the air? We are. Don't talk.
We are. We are. Oh man.
Honest to God, that just made me sick to my stomach. Like I in the bag, and then I literally looked away, and I looked down and saw that thing ended 89-87, and I am done. I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
And you know what'll happen now? It'll only get worse from here. So here's my advice to you: if you want to lose money, bet on these games, and then next week, when you think you're so brave because you're such a great bettor, like everybody around here is a genius, you'll lose so much money. Your girlfriend will leave you. Your wife will leave you. You won't be able to pay your mortgage. You just can't win these bets. You can't win them. And anyone that says they're winning all their bets is lying through their teeth. Because what they do is things like that just happen. I guarantee you, how many people do you think lost money on Marquette right there on that shot?
Probably quite a few.
And they still won the game, but they didn't cover. They're up 5 with 1 second left.
Brutal.
That's what betting is right there. Betting is the kiss of death.
Not a good scene. We do have a couple coming down the stretch also close. North Carolina and Wake are now tied at 57. Here.
I hope they both lose.
And they're going to go foul. They hope they both lose. New Mexico up 10 on San Jose
for the
State.
day with basketball. I'm done.
Colorado up down 12 against Houston. About 12 minutes to go in the second half there. And Texas has a 6-point lead. 6-point lead at the half over Texas A&M. All right. Quickly, let's do this. Rapid fire. The coaches that were very upset last night. A lot of pressure on these guys to win this week. They've had bad seasons, and they have to somehow turn some things around. We'll start with Chris Collins of Northwestern. He actually won his game, but he did not. He was not thrilled with the accommodations, let's just say, that the Big Ten put Northwestern up at with their hotel. Let's hear from Northwestern head coach Chris Collins now.
Our guys are just a tough group of guys. You know, they've had a lot thrown at them. Even last night, they put us in a hotel. The rooms were 1,000 degrees. There was no AC in the hotel, and our guys' rooms were 85 degrees. And that's where the league puts you. So every way they turn, they're trying to get us, and our guys just are a resilient bunch. And they just fought, and they played with a toughness and a chip on their shoulder, and it was a really good win.
Check your mailbox. There'll be a bill coming from the Big Ten.
Yeah, everywhere we turn, they try to get us. That one's gonna. You're right. That one's gonna cost them a couple bucks. After saying that about the Big Ten, and the good news is they fixed the air conditioner today. I saw, but they're going home anyway because they're getting smashed.
Let's get real here for a second. Let's do some evaluation. Chris has been there forever, and he's never done anything.
That's very true. It was a really bad year for Providence and head coach Kim English. At least he was able to admit that after they lost to Butler yesterday.
Yeah, disappointing effort, disappointing outcome, but play true to the pitiful, embarrassing season we've had. That falls on me. And work to correct it begins. And we will.
Yeah, he's getting true to the pitiful, embarrassing season that we had. We certainly did.
When you say that at a presser and all eyes are on Providence, you're getting fired.
Probably. Here's Ed Cooley, the head coach of Georgetown. Of course, he was first of all, you lose to DePaul, who never wins at the Big East tournament. That's a problem in itself. Now, this kid, Thomas Sorber, of course, they lost him at the end of February. He was their best player all year. Freshman kid, gonna go in the NBA. Ed Cooley was very upset that Sorber was not named the Big East Rookie of the Year, and he found last night after losing to DePaul to be the best time to let everybody know about it.
I pray that kid comes back. I pray he comes back. He will be the Big East Player of the Year. He will be a first-team All-American. He will be a lottery pick, and we will be cutting the nets down in this building next year at this time come this Saturday. That's exactly the way I feel. Shame on our coaches for not recognizing that. Seriously. Shame on the coaches because that kid more than earned it, more than deserved it. And again, I'm praying my big boy comes back because if he does, this room will look blue and gray.
Whoa, your boy Ed.
Ed gave the smash on his way out, too. Smashed the desk. I pray my big boy comes back. Cut down the nets, he said. He said they're going to win the Big East next year. Norman comes back. I would say no. All right. I'll finish when I come back with Wyoming coach Sundance Wicks. That is his name. The coach of Wyoming. Sundance Wicks. He's a big Fight Club fan. Sundance Wicks. And I will give that to you when we come back. And then all of tonight's games. We got action as much as we had this afternoon. You got even more tonight.
I can't get over Marquette, the bad beat. I really can't get over it. I won't get over it.
going to play a little game of true or false, fantasy or reality is what we used to call it. But instead, we're going to play a little game of buy or sell. Rafael Devers had a press conference and basically said, I ain't moving off third base. I'm a third baseman. I won't play DH. I won't play anywhere else. Alex Bregman was just signed, so how's this going to work out? Buy or sell, George? Devers will start more games at third than Bregman this season. Is that a buy or sell?
Yeah, Devers is a horrific third baseman. He's bad. I think he ranks dead last in the league here. I think Cora is going to talk to Devers. Apparently, they are close. Listen, you got to move, buddy. I'm sorry. You got to move. We're a better team with Bregman at third.
I think he's dug in here, man. I don't know. I know that there was a report a few days ago that they were talking about it and, sort of working things out. But I think in the end, cooler heads will prevail. But I don't know when that's going to be. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to say that Devers starts like 90 games at third base this season. And I think that'll probably be the compromise here. I think that Bregman will start some. Devers will start some. Bregman's still a Gold Glove third baseman at this stage of his career. It doesn't really add up. The other thing that happened is over the course of Big Poppy's career, he moved off first base. He went to DH. And Big Poppy was Devers, right? I mean, pretty similar in stature there. But Devers just seems to be really dug in on this. I think if it was going to happen, George, we would know by now. And it hasn't. We just heard that it may. So I am going to buy. I don't think Devers plays 150 at third base or even 140 or anything like that. But I do think he plays more than Bregman at third. I think that they have a compromise when they play both.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
So that the end of that Marquette game, the kid makes the free throw with 1 second left.
Yep.
They inbounds the ball to half court. The guy catches the ball and he shoots a half court shot and went in. And that's how everyone lost the bet. I lost the bet. I was laying 2.5, and that half court shot went in, and I lost, and everyone lost. That's the bad beat of the day, guaranteed in college basketball, without a doubt. They'll be talking about that tonight on TV. On some shows that do bad beat segments. That's the worst beat of the day, bar none. Up 5 with 1 second left, a half-court heave goes in, and you lose all your money on that. I lost, and I am not doing well. I don't even want to do the show.
They must have put a couple seconds back on because there was 3 seconds left when he inbounded it. They threw it to the kid around half court. He took one or two dribbles past the logo.
It said 2 seconds. I'm looking at it right now.
And then he off the bank and in. They got that. So nobody guarded him. He just kind of chucked it from the logo past half court, off the bank. Boom. Finished. All right. Here is now this one, because it's the Mountain West, you're not going to get any legitimate audio like you get at some of these other ones. But if you listen, you'll be able to hear this guy. This is Sundance Wicks. He's the head coach at Wyoming. His season, of course, came to a close yesterday in the conference tournament as the Cowboys had themselves a very rough season, 12-20. And he's a big fan, it seems like, of the movie Fight Club. Here's Sundance Wicks.
I didn't see enough blood on the floor. I didn't see enough skin knees. I didn't see enough loose balls. I didn't see enough charges taken. I didn't see any broken noses. I didn't see any blood flying around. You could, Fight Club taught us that you could swallow a pint of blood before you get sick, right? Fight Club taught us that. But for me, that's where I want to see more of that gritty, competitive nature where you just look up and that's where you talk about legends. Legends are made because they see the guy walk up and they're like, oh my gosh, what happened right there? How did that happen? And then you're sitting there, he checks back into the game and he's got two things up his nose and, he's got scratches on his face, his head's tipped up. And you're sitting there like, that guy's a real guy. That's a cowboy tough dude.
What is happening there? This isn't the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, man. My guy wants the double nose puff combs, the puffies in the nose and broken teeth. blood all over the face. He wants Fight Club from his Wyoming Cowboy basketball. Do they even play basketball in Laramie? Really?
Sundance. He was a hockey player on a basketball team. Mommy said he needs a hockey player. I mean, that's great stuff from Sundance Wicks there. The AGA estimates
Sundance Wicks.
over.
What happened there with the mother naming her kid Sundance?
The AGA estimates over $3 billion.
His brother
will be wagered.
Butch Cassidy. That was the line of the year. So far,
right there. $3 billion will be wagered on March Madness. Carolina at the line up 6. Can they get this covered for me? Come on. Let's get the cover. Here, make these free throws. You missed the first one. These kids.
He'll make a half-court shot, though.
I can't have it. I just can't have it right now. All right, let's start tonight. We got a lot of games to do, so let me at least do the Big Ten, and then I'll finish them off with you after the break.
But
two
did
games
you do
tonight.
The betting? Did you do the betting story?
I
or was
did.
I laughing
I just
too
said
hard?
you were laughing too hard. $3 billion with a B.
Will be lost.
Will be lost. Oh, they're playing it out. They're not fouling. Wake Forest isn't foul. Now they foul. Oh, they were letting them play it out. 16.9. Just make some free throws and we'll be okay. Okay, we'll come back and look at all this rack tonight. 2 games in Indy. 2 games in the Big 12 in Kansas City. 2 games at the ACC in Charlotte. 2 games at the SEC in Nashville. 2 games at the Big East at the Garden. I mean, there's more than that. I mean, there's just tons of stragglers that are going on as well that we will have to get involved with, too. Colorado's still down 10. Texas up 6 as they're about to start the second half of that SEC game with the Longhorns and the Aggies. Well, let's just get this one for us. We got, you lost on the Marquette one. He makes both free throws. They're up 9. Really can't, even a 3, I won't get screwed here with the 5.5.
Honestly, I'm glad that Mafia made me laugh because I'm so mad about the end of the Marquette game that I don't even know you're doing stories. I'm not even listening.
Philadelphia 76ers, they tried to play 2 different things. They tried to play contender, and they tried to play protect Joel Embiid. It wasn't doing Joel Embiid any good. This goes back to what I've talked about numerous times on this network. Why did they let him play in the first place? Why was he on the Olympic team? I mean, we looked at it last year in the playoffs against the Knicks. The damn kid was on one leg.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.